Hi there, traders. This is Brad Gilbert with the FX Market Insight for Monday, the 1st of Feb. All right, now start the week in Asia. A little bit of, well, you think it'd be very, very clear sentiment, right? So we had the US equities all down 2% on Friday, or S&P just under that. So a big risk-off sort of sentiment set up. Now, when you look at the major currency pairs, it sort of flowed through, but you know what? It got caught up in the month-end fixings. Now, most equity markets were down around, well, actually, not all of them. So I say all down about 2%. The Dow Jones was, the S&P was down 1.1%. The NASDAQ was up 1.42. So there's a bit of a mixture there in the portfolio. So a lot of fund managers have to recalibrate their portfolios in the month-end fixings. Saw dollar yen sort of head to the top side. Now that screwed up a lot of things for a lot of yen crosses that a lot of people were trading. The rest of the pairs, well, you got a little bit of convoluted trading to finish the end of January, right? But in all, Aussie was lower. Okay, you can see this nasty spike there in the Kiwi. Kiwi ended up coming off there as well, and not much activity, clear activity there on dollar CAD. So, you know what, coming to the end of the month, and you could get caught up in that. Sometimes, it's just one of those things. A Friday, end of the month. Just it's not worth really sort of getting overly involved because you don't really know what the structure of those portfolios are. If it was a huge one-way move and the equity markets were down 5 or 10%, well then sure, you have a pretty clear idea. But at the moment you didn't, and you can see the price action across the board here, across a lot of the pairs, like the dollar index, it's just banging away in big ranges, right? And we're starting to get some more action here across the board on some of these pairs. To me, Thursday, Friday, into last week, it's like the US dollar's had a bit of a crossroad, but we just haven't got the market driver to really give it the kick. Now, if you come into trying to work out what's going on today, and if you rush in now, everyone would know that's been through our courses or workshops. Mondays are problematic, right? They are extremely problematic. Lots of weekend news. The market tries to factor it in. You look at the US equity futures. Okay, they're down. You should be thinking, well, risk-off day. Yeah, I can tell you what, that's not happening, right? So we get a risk-off sentiment in the futures, and that's just a hangover from Friday's, close of trade where all the equity markets were down, in my opinion. Because you come and have a look at the pairs at the moment during we're like sort of halfway through the Asian day. Euro's up a little bit, sterling's up, Aussie's up, Kiwi's up, dollar CAD's down. Like, this is not a risk-off sentiment move on the currency. So just be careful when you are assessing the markets for a risk-on, risk-off sentiment. You really want to be focusing on the start of the day in North America, right? Because you can get a little bit misled by the movement in the Asian equities, right? And that correlation between the risk-on, risk-off sentiment and the currencies and other instruments, it's pretty, it's not exactly set in stone. It's pretty fickle, right? So just looking at the pairs here, you've got some pairs up and down. It's not a clear move across the board on the majors. So there's not clear dollar direction, in my opinion. And that's, we got to wait. You got to wait till you get that. If I just come back to the FX Market Insight, it looks a little bit easier to read. Once again, you got the US equities down, and check out this. You'd be expecting all of these pairs to be down, those pairs to be up, these pairs to be down. It's not the case. So when you just don't see that lined up, just relax and wait to see what happens from there. So the whole idea of looking forward, we're always looking for the next opportunity. So instead of like getting bent out of shape and trying to rush into a trade on Mondays, have a look what's coming out and check out the economic data is slowly coming back into play. The dollar index is jamming away sideways. We are waiting for something to give that dollar direction, right? There's stimulus packages. There's other things happening. So I think we're going to start to move closer towards normal market conditions. And that would first start with watching the numbers, right? Start watching the numbers again and see what's happening with the economic data that's coming out, and actually start to plan your week around the key releases. So really by Wednesday, we should have very clear understanding of where the currencies are going and what to focus on. If we don't, you're probably waiting for a driver to give us that direction. We've got New Zealand employment numbers Wednesday. you come back down into, obviously the start of a new month. If you haven't been around for a while, then you may not know. It's US non-farm payrolls, first Friday of each month. So that's going to be a major focus for the market, right? Going into probably by Wednesday, Thursday, or definitely by Thursday, the market and all the media are going to be talking about it. So you got a few days to sort of get into that. Usually each trading week revolves around one major release. So you want to keep a very close eye on that. Unfortunately, this month, every second month, the US non-farm payrolls comes out with the Canadian employment numbers. It's a bit of a cluster. The US numbers dominate. So just be aware that that's a bit of a shame. Next month, we'll have the Canadian numbers on a different day. We've got retail sales coming out of Australia. There are things coming out, jobless claims numbers during the week, Bank of England, of course. So there's plenty to play for. So just be aware, Monday's not a great trade day. The risk on, risk off sentiment is not in play at the moment, despite the equity market setup. I'd be keeping a close eye, go through your charts. If anything, all you're doing is adjusting your resistance lines, right, to the new levels. Go across all your major pairs, go across the crosses, find out where the best technical setups are, and you'll be ready to start hammering away once we get direction into the market. But at the moment, it's a little bit of a mess. All right, guys, that's it for me. Bit of a not really a slow start to the week. Every week's a slow start, but not exactly clear direction just yet. So I'd be holding my horses at this point. All right, guys, have a good one. Plenty to play for this week. Catch you later on. Cheerio.